ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Welcome everybody to the Indic Humanities next session, and over to you, Srini Mahoday.
Okay. Now, can you see the slide now? This one? All right.
Yes,
Okay. So here is a case study that we had started, and I wanted to sort of take a deep dive by the application of Yoga Sutras to the situation and the stages of the thought process when an object or an event or people are perceived. Here's the story of the case that we considered. A student is sending an important message. It may be a student, or it may be yourself, or maybe a communication session at the workplace, and you had to send something and were waiting on something. Probably a close friend in this case. Can we talk? I need your help, is the message. But the friend sees it and does not reply for many hours. So they see it and you see the tick mark. Sometimes you do know that in these modern cases you can actually switch it off, but still you do notice, or you do think that I sent it, and they might have noticed because of the patterns. But the student's mind, the sender's mind, begins racing. Maybe they're upset. Maybe I did something wrong. They probably don't care. The phone is quiet, right? And the mind is all noisy. You see that thing? Now, so what's happening? The only fact that we know is there's no reply yet. Now, the mind thinking that, superimposing a thought, are they upset with me? Well, or they are upset with me, is called the viparyaya. Oh, the friendship is coming to a close, is called the vikalpa. And memory is someone ignored me before, just like this, smriti. And now you have a disturbed mind. So even though there is only one pramana, what we call, my friend has not replied yet. So that is a vritti. A vritti is a fluctuation of the mind, a thought fluctuation in the mind. And these thought fluctuations are of 5 types. And the first one is called a pramana, which is the valid knowledge that has happened in reality, and the senses have sensed it. Now, my friend has not replied yet. It's the only fact. Now comes viparyaya. They hate me. And on that same viparyaya, there is another fluctuation, vikalpa. Oh, the friendship is over. Nidra. I feel blank and shut down, similar to nidra, somewhat analogous. And smriti. Last time, someone ignored me too. Well, maybe I'm really, I don't have this friendship. I'm not worthy of this friendship. And this keeps happening over time. And then people are ignoring me. There's another story going on. So, how can we map to Samadhi Pada? Samadhi Pada. What I mean by this is, so Patanjali has classified all of these sutras into Samadhi Pada, Sadhana Pada, Vibhuti Pada, and Kaivalya Pada. So Samadhi Pada has sutras, right? So some of the sutras can be directly mapped to this situation. Example, so yoga is all about chitta vritti nirodha. So calming the mental fluctuations or the mental waves. And then the next sutra says, not the immediate next, but the next one, yeah, 1.3, right? Next one says, Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. Once you calm the mind, what appears is the seer resting in clarity. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Drashtuhu. Here, drashtuhu means seer. One seer in the sense of one who knows it all, or one who is simply knowing. You can always be in the state of knowing. The seer rests in clarity. Vritti sarupyam itaratra. What it means is, otherwise, if the seer is not resting in clarity, the seer and the seen are not separated, we start identifying with thoughts. So itaratra, in other times, vritti saropyam. So we simply identify ourselves with thoughts. Abhyasa vairagyabhyam tannirodha. So how do you control it? Abhyasa, practice, and vairagya. So raga is attachment, vairagya is detachment. Detachment to have the to steady the mind. And there are obstacles, doubt, distraction, instability, so on and so forth. And so once you practice all of that thing, or once you the samadhis, in the samadhi pada, the sutras end with, once you practice all of these things, what you get is maitri, karuna, mudita, upeksha, and those kind of good qualities are very, very desirable qualities, which brings the right attitude for peace. Now, let's go to what I want to do now is just to show you the better ways of studying Yoga Sutras. And I have shared this as well. Okay, let's see. I don't know how much you can see. So, the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, about 195 sutras, they're classified into Samadhipada, which is all about mind and vrittis. Sadhanapada is about practice in the kleshas. And Vibhutipada is concentration, and Siddhis are the powers that you get. And Kaivalyapada is about freedom and Purusha, or the consciousness itself. So our teaching flow is going to be, first we talk about the sutra, the word meaning, the meaning, right? Word by word meaning, and the daily examples. So this is how it is classified here. You see that it's all about understanding the mind itself. In the Samadhipada, I don't know if you can read it. So the best way is to chant it every day, or until you get the practice in the rhythm. So it goes like Atha yoganushasanam yogaschitavritti nirodha tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam vritti sarupyamitaratra vrittayaha panchatayyaha klishta klishtaha pramana viparyaya vikalpa nidra smutayah pratyakshanumanagama pramanani viparyayo mithya jnanamatadrupa pratishtham shabda jnananupati vastu shunyo vikalpaha. So as you can see, the sutra says Atha Yoga Anushasanam, and Atha meaning now, Yoga is what we know yoga. Anushasanam is the disciplined teaching or the instruction. Now begins the disciplined teaching of yoga. It's a simple meaning. What it actually means is let's seriously learn, right? Start learning yoga. And yoga chitta vritti nirodha would translate that into, it is the stilling of the movements or the fluctuations of the mind. An example is anger arises, but I pause before reacting. That pause, that few seconds of being aware that a thought arose, an emotion arose, and you observed it. The very act of observing it, the thought would come down drastically. So if you don't observe it, vritti sarupya vitaratra. So the attachment begins and you cannot come out of it. Okay, I am angry happens instead of the anger is in me. Anger is rising and then going. Anger is coming and then going. That's a pattern that has happened for years and years and years. But we still don't know that thing because the identification of the ego or the I thought, which is the thought of centrality, that gets attached. Ego is nothing but the I maker, making a I maker, and that I maker gets attached to that vritti of anger. It becomes I am angry. If you practice the chitta vritti nirodha, so chitta is our mind field, vritti nirodha, the restraining or stilling of the vrittis, when that happens, tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Tada drashtuhu, the seer, or the one who is aware of. Right? So basically, the seer resting in its true nature. When the mind is calm, I see clearly. So you, when you can go through the sutra texts, and you do see that they're all connected. And each sutra not only has will have the translation, the meaning, and if you go take any good publication, they and preferably Vyasa Bhashya or Bhojavritti, then you can actually go through step by step. Bhojavritti or the Bhoja's Vyakhya, the commentary, is the first one to study because it's simpler to study. And then Vyasa Bhashya, which is very detailed and one of the most celebrated classics in the commentary traditions of Yoga Sutras. So you see now, vritti sarupyam itaratra. Otherwise, the seer becomes identified with the mental waves. So we said that. So vrittayaha panchatayaha. There are 5 types. Klishta klishtaha. So some may be painful, some may not be painful. A memory can inspire or disturb, right? And as you can see in the 6th sutra, pramana viparyaya vikalpa nidra smrutaya. So that is the vritti, which are of 5 types. Pramana is the valid knowledge. Viparyaya is the wrong knowledge. Vikalpa is the imagination. Nidra is the sleep. And smriti is the memory. And we all have experienced, because I'm taking these examples because we can relate to it easily, but there are many examples. The fear of exam, it includes memory, imagination or anxiety, and wrong assumptions. And when it comes to pramanas, what are the pramanas? You see that thing, pramana, viparyaya, and then it explains what is pramana here. And then viparyaya, it says what is viparyaya here. And then vikalpa, it says what is vikalpa here. So this way, the sutras start getting expanded. So the top one has everything, and then they start analyzing word by word, and the sutras will expand. So like a thread, it holds everything. You can see how integrated it is. Shabda vastu shunyo vikalpaha. See, for example, vikalpa, someone asked last time, what is vikalpa? Patanjali answers, vikalpa is nothing but shabda, shabda anupati. Shabda meaning word, jnana meaning knowledge. Anupati, that which follows. Vastu shunyaha, without a real object. If you simply have word and following the word, if you simply have this imagination, following the word, but there's nothing referencing to that word, that is called imagination. It is a word based idea without a real object behind it, which is, I mean, it has an example like, oh, if I fail once, my whole life is over. So this is the primal cause of so many issues. And you might have come across in the news media, a kid did not pass his exams or whatever, and they went and committed suicide. So it is simply based on this vikalpa. If I fail once, my whole life is over. It is the identification with the thought of failure itself, and it has never happened, just the fear. And this fear is the one that actually makes them more and more anxious. And you see, abhava. So, what is nidra? Abhava pratyaya alambana vrittir nidra. Abhava is the absence, and pratyaya is the mental content. There's no, during sleep, the state is, the state of the mind is based on the experience of absence. So here you see that thing, absence. The experience of absence itself is an experience, and that is nidra. So what happened during sleep? I don't know anything, but the experience is real, and absence is simply compared to what you're seeing in the wakeful state. So that is the absence, and that experience of absence, when that happens, that mental state is sleep. The blank sleepiness during study or meditation is also an example. So what is smriti? Anubhuta vishaya asampramoshaha. Smriti. Anubhuta vishayaha. So an experienced object or an event. Asampramoshaha. Sampramoshaha, losing. Asampramoshaha, not losing, which is retaining. So retaining the experience of objects. So it can be mental objects or real objects. That memory is nothing but retaining of what has been experienced, physical or mental objects. So remembering an insult and feeling angry again, that happens, right? Sometimes it is simply a mental object. The experience of something bad happened and you felt bad, remembering it again and again, that can make you angry once more, two times more, three times more. So the mental afflictions are constantly affecting. So how do you control them? How do you restrain them? Abhyasa vairagya bhyam. Abhyasa and vairagya. The practice and detachment. This has to be constant. So they have to be restrained by practice and detachment. Practice and detachment. The way to is just plugging back to what needs to be done, returning back to your work and not obeying every urge that are disturbing. It happens, and that is the way of the mind is to cheat, they say, in order to simply overcome it by the will. That itself is enough to restrain. Tatra sthitau yatno abhyasah. Practice is the effort to remain steady. Suppose you're when you're doing the pranayama, which is actually, as we talked about it, it puts you from the SNS or the sympathetic nervous system mode to PNS or the parasympathetic nervous system mode. And the more you have the practice, the more control you have on your own state of mind. And that more the practice, better is the state of mind. And therefore, keeping that practice constant, that that steadiness and the continuity of the same thing is abhyasa. And how should it be? Satu dirghakala nairantarya satkara sevito druda bhumi. That practice, dirghakala, it needs to be a long time practice. And nairantarya, antara meaning gap. Nairantarya, no gap. Don't give a gap. Practice becomes firm when done for a long time without break, but with respect. Satkara sevito dhruda bhumi. Satkara, with respect, with devotion. Example, even daily music practice slowly becomes a skill. And we have heard of music itself being meditative experience, but you got to practice it. Like this, the whatever is defined, like so once a sutra is like the formula, and so each formula will have those words, and every word is every word is defined again, so it expands like a tree. So these are the examples of a samadhi pada. And if we go back to this, oh, here you see that when an event happens, the yogic response is not reaction. The yogic response is first pause, notice the thought, breathing, separate the fact from the mental story that started with the viparyaya. And then the moment you have identified the story, then respond with clarity. The, the simplest act could have been, hey, I'm just checking in if everything is okay. Reply when you can. That's enough, right? So the fact is small, but the vrittis, there was really no storm, but the vrittis built up a storm, and now you have a mind full of storms. It is so yoga is the art of seeing the storm without becoming the storm. That is one of our examples. And the foundational sutras of Samadhipada happen to be Yoga Chittavritti Nirodha. And then this is probably the most important thing, and that is going to be pursued throughout, which is Tada Drashtuhu Swarupe Avasthanam. When the mind is clear, the seer abides in its own true nature. Example, in a quiet attention, you're not lost in fear or confusion. And if you never meditated in your entire life, So, what was the experience? Um, well, how will you compare it with? The best way to compare with that is deep sleep, not the sleep where when you're dreaming. If you're dreaming, you're not sleeping. Okay. If you're not dreaming, the experience is deep sleep. And that deep sleep, you have no worries. And that level of no worries, which is nothing but calmness, it is calmness when you're when you have that kind of an experience, but you're completely awake. And that is the in the wakeful state, having the calmness of the deep sleep. And that is when you don't have fear or confusion. That comes, in few seconds probably, but you can't hold it. That state is not the state of having the calmness of the deep sleep in the wakeful state is not easy. It comes in few seconds. You would have experienced it. Suppose maybe you're listening to music for an hour and you don't know how the time passed for about an hour or so, and something else happens, and then you come out of it. You know that you are awake and you are completely immersed in music, and you have that experience, and you are aware what is going on, but still it was worry free. No fear, no confusion, no past, no future. You're completely in the present. So, tada drashtuhu swarupeva sthanam. So that is when the seer is abiding in its own true nature. So how do you expand it? Abhyasa vairagya abhyanta nirodha, which we mentioned in the just a few minutes ago. But returning to the task again and again, that is the most important task, and letting go of distraction. That is how you achieve it. And the result is going to be Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekshanam, Bhavana, Bhavanatah Chitta Prasadanam. See, the right attitude, such as friendliness, that is Maitri, Karuna, compassion, and detachment, all of these the right attitudes, they calm the mind. Instead of jealousy, you cultivate joy in another's success. This is the most difficult thing to do. But finding the joy in another's success is the one that you start achieving by the practice of samadhi pada. So from restless mind to the clarity of the seer. Okay. And regarding the sutras, do you have any questions? Because there's so many, and I could only select 20 of them in each of the pada, but we can actually go a little more if you have any question, particularly about samadhi pada, or anything that you want to be discussed. Take the same case study and then apply it to your life too. Let's say you pick a vritti that is so common. Is it anger, or is it worry, or is it distraction, imagination, laziness, comparison, fear, or what else? Because at any of these things, which is very very natural for any person to experience. Yes, go ahead.
This example that you gave of listening to music and kind of it being an easy experience.
Yes.
Every time I have done meditation or tried meditation, even for long hours, it's a mental and a physical strain to keep your mind still, right? Like to make sure that it doesn't this thing. You're just concentrating on breathing. You're just concentrating on keeping it this thing.
Mhm.
Uh, I get it with maybe the implication is that with practice, it's just you can get into that position very, very quickly and without you having to uh, get into that mental strain. But I wanted to confirm if that is what they're trying to imply, or is it more like, it should be that easy for most people?
It is not easy for most people. I mean, the moment you wake up and so many inputs in the environment, everyone gets disturbed. That is enough to keep you so busy. And most people, you ask them, they consider meditation or sitting quietly a waste of time, right? Many. Some have derived great benefits, but you do you do see that people are. I mean, they can't sit quietly because every thought is affecting. Even the thought of meditation. Oh, meditation! You gotta sit quietly and do nothing. Oh, what a waste of time. So this is another thought that is interfering and uh, allowing you to think of it as a useless activity. That is also preventing you from anything, because you see, the body is in the form of let's say gross existence, like um, what you call solid. Okay, so it is in the form of solid. Body is in the form of solid, so gross existence. And now there is a subtler form, which we what we call pranamaya sharira, right? That it is so subtle, but you can't see it, but you can feel it breathing. And there is manomaya sharira. You do know that you have mind, but you can't see it. It is even subtler. So gross, subtler, and gross, subtle, and subtler. Right. So gross meaning the annamaya, pranamaya, manomaya. If the physical, but what is tangible is the physical body, and controlling the physical body is easier than controlling the breath. And it is easier to control the breath than to control the mind. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So when you are running, and that running, the breathing increases, and there's very less control about how you breathe, because it is constantly it is keeping in pace with your running. Is that right?
Yeah.
Uh, uh, let's say you hit the gym, and after the treadmill, you go on to other weights. And when you're lifting weights, the way of breathing changes. Sometimes it is hard. Sometimes it is the exhalation is so high that everybody else hears you.
Yeah.
And um, many times you have no control on the breathing pattern, because every routine in the gym changes it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But yoga asana, now you look at the asana, and the asanas are sequenced in a way where breathing is systematically controlled, because you start with the sukhasana, or you start with the body
Vajrasana.
erect posture and all of those things,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So there is the pattern of breathing is in alignment with the movement of the body, but the person is controlling the movement of the body, and the breathing is happening in tandem or in alignment with it. Is that an experience?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when the breathing is controlled, heart is controlled. because pranamaya sharira is sandwiched between annamaya and manomaya. So controlling that breathing controls the mind. So asana prepares prepares the body for other experiences. So you do see that more than the or um, burst mode or endurance exercises. Asanas are more about flexibility. Of course, you get other benefits of whatever you're getting from the other types of workouts, but a lot more stress is on the flexibility of the body, because that is what you're going to lose when you're aging. So with that approach, asana to pranayama to actual dhyana, is that question still lingering for you?
No, I think I think it's resolved. One funny this thing. So when I took Vipassana a few years ago, and I was thinking I should have been good at yoga, because they make you meditate for 12 hours, and then your back and your legs and everything starts hurting. You'll be like, I wish I was more flexible when doing that. So
Yeah, and also this thing, right? The very fact he is saying in this sutra is abhyasa vairagyabhyam tannirodha. Right? So abhyasa is of primal importance, and he says, what is abhyasa? It is nairantarya. It has to have no gap. Satu dirghakala. He is not saying alpakala. He's saying dirghakala. So Patanjali knows it takes a long time, and how it needs to be done? It needs to be practiced without a break every day. If the sun is going up, if the sun is coming down, you are doing it. Samyak dhyayati asyam sandhya. So it is not the Sandhya Vandana, which is practiced only in a particular group. But if you actually learn meditation or dhyana and things like that, you do see that. Sorry. What is going on here? Yeah, you do see. Oh, sorry about that. Just a minute. Mm. Okay. My clicks took me to other workspaces. Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm back. So can you hear me now?
yes.
Okay, and can you see the screen?
Yeah, the word file is behind. Yes.
Oh, very, very good. Okay. So here is the thing. So the practice becomes firm when done for a long time without a break. And this is key. Nairantarya. And how? With respect. Satkara sevito. Dridha bhumi. And you got to do it with conviction. Without a break, with respect, long time. And that long can be, 1 year can be long for somebody, but and 10 years can be, Many, it is said that 5 to 10 years is the time normally, but nobody has measured it, and I think so. At least, and if you keep that practice every day, it happens. And in fact, that is true even with classical music, or if you want to be a good dancer, let's say classical good dancer, it takes that long, right?
It's 10,000 hours, right? That's
Yeah,
the
yeah. 10,000 hours. Let's say, right, right. And it has to be continuous.
yeah.
Yeah, yes. And with that kind of practice, but it is experiential. It's not that it doesn't happen. If you are doing it every day, I'm pretty sure Trikala Sandhya would have helped a lot of people. And we just don't have the time for Trikala, but at least, once, if not Dikala Sandhya. But it is said the Sandhya is actually occurring 2 times only. Sandhikala is only 2 times. It is said that Madhyanika was added probably during the medieval times, but Sandhikala is when the Sandhya happens, when the day and night, two events join together. Yes, DC Mode.
Yes, see, Pratha that I'm able to experience it. It's a discipline that, personally speaking, I think it's only recent, 6 months or so. But after taking IKS, it kind of I
Awesome.
got into the routine and then started doing more research. The
Yeah.
direct impact on my life, I can tell you that right now. That's one, and the other one is also about the Yoga Sutras.
Mm.
I think the guided meditation is what I've been trying to do for 10 years.
Mhm.
So rightfully said that it could take 1 year, or it could take 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, but keep it. The what he says is it has to remain steady. The abhyasa shouldn't have gaps. It's not like doing it once. Oh, I have time today, and then after like 10 days, you come back and do it. So those residues are not really going away. And if you're brushing teeth every day, why not this?
Right,
So
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like mental hygiene.
yeah. Just to get one more point out from my mind is that um, I'm really enjoying AKS, and with whatever I've learned through
Mhm.
this and applying this directly, making a life change. That's the ultimate goal. And I
Yes.
think Yoga Sutras, you mentioned about yogasanas
Mhm.
as a point of entry, and then
Entry.
you're
Yes.
basically doing the same thing because meditation is extremely difficult for a normal person to understand.
Mhm.
And yeah, for me, it's been over 10 years, and I'm still trying to, mess with my own mind, but trying to get into the routine, the sadhana. I think that's where the key is, and I think I'm getting there. But I think the point of getting into that, true meditative state.
Mhm.
I think you get one flavor of it, and I think that's what keeps going.
I mean, the goal of the classes is transformation, not just information, which you can get anywhere, right?
More now than ever before.
Yeah. Everybody experiences information overload.
Exactly. Dhanyawad.
Yeah. But thank you for informing, and I hope others are also finding benefits of the classes. And you know, it's all about putting into practice. Right? Okay. And so, any other question remains here? Because these are, I mean, we can go on, and this is amazing sutras, actually.
Gee, one question. Is there? I know we shy away from the chronology,
Mhm.
um, but is there a time period as to how old, um, ancient it is?
Oh, this one, I mean, because Sankhya is super, super old. And many people say, I mean, if you ask the Western Indologists, they would say, oh, this is probably Patanjali Yoga Sutras is after Buddhism, which is 1500 BC. So it should be around 1200 or 1000 BC, or maybe just they place it around 1000, between 1000 BC to 4th century C, somewhere around that thing. And of course, they attribute everything in about a span of 1000 years. All the Sutra period is what they call. If you look at the Sutra period and all the sutras as per their chronology, and that is how the Sutra period is a different time.
Okay. So I'm looking at this book here called The History and Chronology of Ancient India. Some guy from UT wrote this book here in Austin.
Okay.
Um,
Is that Patrick?
Anil Mehta.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So basically, it has all the time periods. So I'm trying to make that reference here, but I'll get to it when I get through this book here. Dhanyawadaji.
And so sure. And you see, another thing that I wanted to mention was about Shraddha. Shraddha Virya Smriti Samadhi Prajna Purvakaita. The progress comes only through trust, effort, memory, concentration, and wisdom. So trust the path and keep practicing. So that's another sutra. He starts with Shraddha. Shraddha is not just the faith, but trust in the nature, or trust in the harmony of nature. So the harmony of body and harmony of Prakriti itself. So trust in the process of Ruta. Right? That's what it is. It's not about faith. Oh, somebody said it, therefore I follow. It's not about that. Yeah. The next thing, let's go back to the slide here. All right. Okay. Sadhana pada is the this is the second pada. We study the sutra there too, but you look at this example. So here is a professional sitting. Let's say he's an experienced one, and he's asked to present an important update to the executives. It's about 10-minute presentation, and he is given this task. He's already worrying, what if I sound foolish? What if they question me about if somebody questions, right, in the board meeting, or somebody questions in this exec meeting, and if I don't know it, what happens? So he's going to be, the moment that thought comes, he's going to be transferring that stress to others also in the team. If this goes badly, people will think I am an incompetent leader. So the outer event is so small. It's just 10 minutes of presentation. But the inner klesha, or the chain of kleshas, will make it very heavy. So when they say, I'm so busy for the presentation tomorrow, it's actually 10 minutes. Yes, you do need to prepare. But while preparing, the worries are also there. So that wrong perception is that avidya. So what is that thing? What is that avidya? This presentation defines my worth. As though if he's going to perform badly in those 10 minutes, I am incompetent. So that attachment to the worthiness of an individual, right? That is an example of avidya. And there are 5 types of kleshas, and that is what we are trying to describe here. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhiniveshaha. So avidya is that wrong seeing, is an example. Asmita is that identification. I am my performance. Incompetent performance doesn't mean that I am an incompetent performer. One bad performance doesn't mean that I am a bad performer. So that asmita, that I maker, who keeps making that I and attaching to these vrittis. So that is called asmita. That is the kleshas are nothing but the root problems. And then raga. So raga is all about the raga of the mind. Why does he fear so much? Because his innate urge is the raga. That is, I need praise and approval. I need praise and approval. And he's attached to that praise and approval for about 10 years or so. That's why he went up. And he's attached to that. He doesn't want to lose it. That is raga, craving for it again and again, again and again. And every time he craved for it, probably he never cared when he was a child. But when that was a part of the system, so praise and approval became so important. Then comes dvesha. Dvesha is the aversion. What is that aversion about? I hate to be criticized. I hate to be questioned the wrong way. And I let them all ask questions for which I know the answer to. But that is not going to happen. Okay. I hate criticism or being questioned. And then the abhinivesha, or that bias, the strong bias, or the fearful clinging. What if I lose my status, my respect among my colleagues, my friends, my peers, and my subordinates? Or security. They are not going to treat me the same way next time if I mess it up. You see that all of these are adding up now. So these are the kleshas that are identified in the sadhana pada and how to overcome it. Has that happened to in our experience, interviews? Has that happened to us as children? Didn't we? So how many times we would have faced the same fear of being questioned by a teacher, and what happened? Anyone? So you were asked to prepare for the class when you were in middle school, high school, or probably elementary, and you probably messed it up, or you thought that you were going to mess it up, and maybe you did mess it up. And what has happened because of that? Anyone?
Just a learning, and I think, yeah, I recall from sort of middle school,
Mhm.
and it turned out that I thought like I could have done better in many aspects after the fact. After years, I still think that I could have done better.
Yeah, that's fine. But has anything bad happened? If you look at that experience, how much you feared to go prepare, by heart everything, learn everything so that you could answer the teacher.
Very
And
fearful, very fearful. A lot of stage fear and everything.
yeah,
But
and do you
completed
remember the details now? Now,
topical one, yes. Because it was a long essay that I had to
uh,
somehow bring that point together for a long debate.
yeah, and we all have gone through that experience of fear, preparation, fear, preparation, fear. And we probably did well or we did not do well. Somebody else did better and we got jealous. All of that might have happened. But how does it matter to us now? But look at it, 20 years back, if you just see what I feared about, you don't even remember it now. But during that time, it was so painful. So the experience was real It was painful, it was suffering, and the punishment that were experienced, or the fear of punishment was more intense than the actual punishment itself. Um, but you do know that they do not matter now. How many of those incidents you worried about, and did you solve it? The answer is yes. Sometimes you solved it, sometimes the problem disappeared. But that intensity is not there at all. Only experience is there, but the intensity or the emotional pain or the intensity does not exist now. So, what does that mean? It was the smriti that was acting up. That memory is still there, but the pain is not there now, right? After 20 years, it's the same thing with every fear, every klesha that we experience. It is only real as we are thinking about it. So he says, the presentation did not create the bondage. The kleshas shape the reaction to it. So the pain is actually coming from these kleshas, not from the actual event. There's no but attachment or no moha because of that. Only the kleshas. So how sadhana pada helps is that it recommends tapas, which is the disciplined practice, the preparation, rehearsing steadily, even with discomfort. Conviction over convenience. Right? One thing. So that is under our control. Swadhyaya or swasya adhyaya, adhyayanam. Self-study, asking, am I afraid of presenting or of being judged? It's not the presentation itself. You probably know the material. It's about being judged. So that is the fear. What if my presentation is not up to the expectations of others? So the deepest fear to convince others. And it also talks about Ishvara Pranidhanam, or the surrendering, the results of the work. Do the sincere work and then release that anxiety about the outcome. So anxiety is nothing but the imagination of the future failure, right? So what does it need? The viveka, or the discernment, or what we call discrimination for the right reasons. Anxiety is in my mind. It is not my true self, and that's a fact. And that is how it needs to be seen. But that's not how it is seen. I am anxious is seen. Not anxiety is in my mind. It is still a part of my chitta, and I will take care of it. It's okay. Now I have fear. That's okay. That's natural. And once you accept it, oh, I have fear. How funny it is to have fear. You can have that mind. It's actually a better state to be in. If you reach the stage that, oh, I don't know, whoa, I don't know what to do. I have no clue what to do. Instead of that, I have no clue. I have no clue at all what to do. I have no idea how I'm going to present. Is a better state of mind. It might sound a little bit foolish to others, but not to the one experiencing it. The sense of wonderment, the sense of wonder. And you see, the Ashtanga, not only it helps, the Sadhana Pada talks about all of these, it also talks about the Ashtanga in action. For example, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So Yama is that honesty or not harming others. So that is what you got to follow, right? That's an ethics, outer ethics. Niyama, the inner ethics. Inner ethics is the steady routine or the practice that you inculcate. Asana is the grounded posture. You start training the body first. And then comes pranayama, calming the breath, and variations of the breathing, because every type of breathing is associated with vrittis. So you can actually map the pattern of breathing to the vrittis. And that kind of vritti can be controlled by that type of pranayama. Pratyahara is the withdrawal from the imagined judgment in this case. Not using the sensual attachment, or withdrawing the senses is a direct translation. But for this example, you withdraw from the imagined judgment. You prepare for the presentation with a steady routine, having a good posture so that you don't ache your body later, so that you breathe properly. And then dharana, focus on the 3 points that you want to present. And then take a deep dive so that expect the questions. And that is what needs to be practiced, but not the fear itself. Dhyana is the steady flow of attention to the subject material. Samadhi is the complete absorption in the task. So once that is done, all these worries are out. The presentation was outside, the bondage was visible, right? The responsibility is not removed by yoga, but it trains the person with clarity and for steadiness and freedom. So that's the whole point here. And sadhana pada and sadhana pada gives wonderful insight into this thing. And I've shared this document as well. But even though, because I could not get all of those sutras, I just selected the 20 best ones, at least, 20 most important ones. I can't say really best or anything, but it's you can see the pattern of these sutras being applicable will be more. Here you see that tapaswadhyaya ishvara pranidhanani kriya yoga in the sadhana pada. A practical yoga is discipline, self-study, right? And surrendering to Ishvara. In daily example is that you keep a routine, reflecting on yourself every day and offer the result, because the result is not under our control, only effort is. Effort is under our control. Well, result, somebody liking it or not liking it, zero control on that thing. And most of the problems can be solved simply by changing the perspective. And that is what you learn more and more by putting it into practice. Samadhi bhavanartha kleshatanu karanarthascha. Say samadhi, which is this deep absorption, and bhavana, the cultivation, artha, for the purpose. Klesha are these 5 afflictions that we saw. Tanu karanam is weakening. The meaning is this kriya yoga or the sadhana yoga prepares samadhi and weakens the kleshas. So daily practice slowly reduces anger, pride, and fear. And one question you might ask is, who is this Ishvara? Swadhyayeshvara pranidhanani kriya yoga Ishvara pranidhana is mentioned. So which says surrendering or offering to Ishvara. The result is, we see that karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Even in the Gita we see that thing. But here in the Yoga Darshana, who is Ishvara? Vyasa Bhashya talks about Purusha Vishesha Ishvara. So it's Ishvara is a special Purusha. As you can see in the In Sankhya, it is Purusha and Prakriti. And Patanjali qualifies it as Ishvara is a special Purusha, consciousness, special Purusha, untouched by kleshas, karma, and the karma phalas. Karmic results won't affect him. And latent impressions. There's no vasanas. So how Yoga Darshana defines Ishvara is as a Purusha Vishesha, aparamrushta, is untouched and beyond kleshas. The Vyasa Bhashya emphasizes that it is unsurpassed seed of omniscience. Now, it's a big word, but we'll come to that thing. He is the teacher, or he is the teacher even of the ancient rishis. He is the pranava, and Om is his verbal symbol. You invoke Ishvara with Om. Yeah. Japa and contemplation lead the mind inward. So any mantra that we chant, we have mantra yogas, right? You do the japa, and that japa is the mantra yoga. And that contemplation, that leading the mind inward using Om is the practice. What Ishvara is not here, according to this darshana, is not merely an abstract idea or of an ordinary individual's viva. No, because the ordinary individual is contaminated with Prakriti, right? Not explicitly defined as a sectarian deity, such as only Shiva, only Vishnu, only Ganesha, or anything like that. Not identical in yoga's own terms with Advaita's Brahman definition. Yes, they use that. Nowadays, Yoga Sutra is the practices are very much. They can be seen in all these centers of deity worship too, no doubt. But Sutra is not specifically that. It's more like consciousness, which is eternally free, timeless, guiding, and a perfect teacher. And it's a meditative support, probably the ideal Purusha, not contaminated with Prakriti. So it has a more precise philosophical definition. Klesha karma vipaka ashayaihi aparamrushtaha. No klesha, no karma, no vipaka. And is untouched. Purusha Visheshaha Ishvaraha. This is how Vyasa Bhashya defined it. Okay. So where are we? We can go to Sadhana Pada and see some of those sutras and see what is interesting to you. Some of the sutras, 20 that I collected, it is talking about, there are 5 kleshas, which are ignorance, ego, attachment, aversion, fear, and all that. But ignorance is the field where the other kleshas grow, whether hidden, weak, interrupted, or active. Ego may be quiet now, in our case, in daily experiences, but appears, we think that we have no ego, okay? We have no ego at all, right? But when someone insults us, there you see. Let's say someone may call him, how long are you taking? Are you stupid or what? That's enough to trigger. All he said is a word called stupid. But what happened is going to be very different. Look at this one. Which sutra is this? Yeah. Avidya kshetramuttaresham prasupta tanuvicchinnodaranam. Avidya kshetram uttaresham prasupta tanuvichinna udaranam. So ignorance is the field. Avidya is the field, kshetram, where other kleshas grow. So it starts with avidya, as we saw here. The wrong perception. It starts with everything else starts with this ignorance. That is attachment of the ego to the role, to the work, to the effort, to anything other than what it is. The I thought, which keeps attaching to attributes, roles, actions, and anything else. I mean, that's very, very strange. And the language reflects it. I am short. Instead of I have shortness in my body, I am short. I am tall. I have tallness as an attribute. Nobody thinks like that. The language says, I am tall, right? And emotions, it keeps, I am happy. Yes, happiness is in me. And I am I am competent. Yes, competency is a skill that I have it in me. Nobody talks like that. But the language, as you can see, reflects thought itself, and that is reflecting how ego is working. So ego is not just about superiority. Ego is about inferiority too, and that is more prevalent. Inferiority complex is an ego complex. Yeah, any thoughts and questions at this point on the Sadhana Pada Sutras?
No questions here, but it's very helpful.
So, I mean, is it insightful? Insightful in a sense of, oh my God, okay, I did not think about it. There's so much to it, so much to it. Or I knew about it, but I did not have words for it. That is very common too.
Realizing and being aware of this. So much is said. So much is said. So many mental issues. Everything everything is related to this. And if this is actually understood better,
yeah,
we would actually have better psychological relationships.
Oh, and I think best thing about all of it is about understanding this. If we see ourselves in terms of the states of chitta, now the states of chitta is mudha, kshipta, vikshipta, those states, which we discussed in the last meeting. And simply being aware of the state of our chitta, that will help too, right? Where is it? Maybe. Yes. So this is what I just see how useful it is. You can not only know yourself, you can actually see where the other person is simply based on their words, their reactions, and their. How do you know other person's emotional state versus yours? Let's say if your mind is, so let's go from the mudha chitta, because that is easy to start with. Tamasic mind, which is mudha chitta, right? The dominant guna is tamas. If I have the state of blankness, I am feeling sleepy, not motivated, I know that mudha chitta is actually predominant at that point, because tamas is the attribute ruling. You're more active in the morning, but definitely mudha chitta in the night, right? You can't really, or if somebody is drunk, completely drunk, and how can you talk to that person? He's in the mudha chitta. And many people, without drinking, they can be in this state. We all can be. And being aware of it. You can see the dark cloud there covering the light. So that's a symbol. Mudha chitta. And then comes a little bit of rajas. We'll have restless mind, kshipta chitta, impulsive, being easily irritable, or scattered mind, or constantly engaged in activities. You see, you're as busy as an ant running here and there. But what for? Anyone can be busy, constantly busy, with no purpose. For example, a student sitting to study, or an employee starts working, but keeps jumping to phone, the notifications, the emails, the music, the food, and worries and worries and worries and worries. There's so many. And many people say that, oh, they're multitasking here. So there will be justifications too. But it's actually a restless mind. Then comes the occasionally steady mind, which is the vikshipta chitta. Most of the population, even at the executive levels, you see this one. Sattva mixed with rajas. The mind shows the moments of clarity, okay, but focus is interrupted again and again. This is, you do see that even in very, very intelligent people. I'm talking about IQs of more than 150 that you know, that you might know. So they can, you do see, oh, how come he's such an intelligent person? Not really. I mean, intelligence, we define it only in terms of one vritti, one skill, but the chitta itself is at this level where, 10 minutes of focus and then distracted and returns, and all these kleshas are still occurring. Ekagra chitta and niruddha chitta is the way to go. So these are the goals. And sadhana is, the very practice involves this thing. They'll take you to the level of ekagra chitta, so that after a lot of practice in this state, you get to niruddha chitta. That is a deep meditative state. And that becomes permanent. And that is when actual kaivalya happens. So this progression of the chitta by using the analogy of the lake, and that is where you see the value of Samadhipada, the value of Yoga Sutras and all that. This model, this framework gives you what you need to be aware of. Not incidents, not small attributes, but the whole state of the mind. So once you shed that awareness on the state of the chitta, the self-awareness increases. Am I in the mudha chitta mode? Am I in the kshipta chitta mode? Am I in the vikshipta chitta mode? So this awareness is easier than, I am aware or not aware. You can't ask those questions. It's like a thief trying to help you. Who is a thief? Right? Mind is a thief, like Ramana Maharshi says. You can't find it because he is searching the thief with you, like a spy, a thief who's disguised. So you can't ask the mind, am I in the right state? No, you can go to meditative state and develop that awareness of finding the state of the mind. Okay, and so we went over that thing for quite a bit, but sadhana pada and the vibhuti and the kaivalya is something, it gives a lot, more and more insights into the same topic. And if you have any questions at this point, please ask. I know, yeah. So it's almost at the top of the hour. How do you find it so far?
I think Rudrasen ji had a question about work in tech and the fact that we need to stay in Vikshipta mode on purpose.
So many times you'll be rewarded for being in Nokia mode.
Uh,
Yeah.
um,
That is
I,
true.
I'm not in tech, but I see this thing. Usually, when I know that I need to concentrate and get work done, like I have a task in hand, I have a deliverable which is coming up. I usually basically I go off Teams, or I basically say that do not disturb. I go into do not disturb mode, and then I have to concentrate. Right, there's no getting out of it. So those 4-5 hours, you'll have to stay this thing. I don't know uh, if there's any downside in your industry for not responding to messages or something like that.
I don't think, I mean, many of our jobs are highly interrupt driven, and being answerable uh, to those interruptions will be rewarded too. And the interruptions from the customers are prioritized higher than the interruptions from the insiders, right? Interruptions from the manager, first is the customer, and then comes your management, and then comes your peers. So you have to classify your interruptions and then play the game accordingly with all awareness. Not that we can have it all the time, but what I'm talking about is the framework that Patanjali Maharshi has given. And that framework is so systematic, and it appears like it's feasible. Yeah. Even though Vibhuti has a lot of yogi pratyakshas and miracles and things like that, but the framework is pretty neat, nice. It may not be in our direct experience, but helps in many other cases. Yes, Mahadev.
One question.
Mhm.
So on the slide where uh, you just showed the lake analogy. So
Which one? Oh, like, yeah, the chitta.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not showing.
Wait a second, I'll go back.
No, no, yeah, this. Yeah, lake analogy.
Analogy, like. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
So here, like, uh, we have got clarity that chitta is different from chit. Chit is the consciousness. Chitta is the mind.
Mind field. It's the
Mind.
memory, emotions, and all these vrittis together is chitta. Think of it as storage, mm,
Right,
storage area.
right. So I just wanted to say that the mind field analogy really helps because the lake is also like a fluid medium, and the mind field, when you say it is a mind field, that means it is not a isolated, but it is a continuous field, can get affected, and very fluid.
And we keep going through the mood, akshipta, vikshipta, ekagrata. That transition is constantly happening. We are not in one state all the time. We have,
Right,
yeah, one of the states like the ekagra and niruddha. We have to be in the restrained mind state where you can use any skill you want rather than being dictated by a mind. You have to control the mind, is the point.
right, right. Yeah, this helps to map our situations.
Correct. This is the model, and I really love this model of Patanjali, where he actually makes it so it's very simplified, and probably the most practical one is what I thought.
Right. And so many times, like, whether we are into trading stock or something, so many memory or the smritis, they impact or delusions or something, but the
Yes,
pramana is get uh,
there's only one pramana, but everything else, 90% of it is what's happening in the mind. Yes,
right.
yeah. But it starts with the viparya. Mm. Now, this will be, I mean, it's great to know because this model will help a lot in many shastras, many studies, even understanding many subjects, because you have to understand yourself before you understand others and other subjects. Are we in the right recipient mode?
Right.
Astu Mahoday.
So, if there is no question, we'll close.
Yeah. All right. So go back and do all the yogas that you know. Get all the practices back, all the good ones that you knew.
Yeah, sadhana.
Yeah, I mean, while doing it, I'm doing it.
Yeah, the good thing about Patanjali Yoga Sutra is it started with the final Samadhi Pada, how to do, and then so top-down approach. Yeah, first the target, and then how to go about from
Yes,
sadhana.
correct.
Yeah.
So doing Prati Prasav Sadhana this weekend.
Oh, wonderful. What is it called?
Prati Prasav Sadhana.
Oh, is it something to do with the Vipassana branch or our is the dharmic branch of studies?
It's a part of Shiva Yoga.
Shiva Yoga.
So basically, it's guided meditation to eliminate all the different types of karma.
Dharma. Okay, okay, I see. Hmm. Yeah, and also the way they classify the in the with the vasana, karma, uh, anything else in between. All these things are great models. Helps a lot actually, and you can that krama is given the prakriya. How do you know you're moving from one stage to another? First, identify how many states exist, and you would have experienced all of those states. It's nothing is outside of experience here. Everything else is experienced. Mudha and kshipta, vikshipta, a lot more than the ekagra and the niruddha. We all know that thing. How to increase that state and finding it insightfully, and then coming up with the process to be in that state longer and longer periods of time, and that is super insightful. Astu Modi.
Astu.
Okay
So
then. See you.
we'll conclude with the prarthana.
Okay.
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Paschantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I'll stop the recording.
Yeah.